Hi and welcome back to part 2. In the last video we covered marking out of the border. In this video we're going to cover doing the center, working out where all your herringbone's going to be and gluing it out and putting them in. So we get our tape measure and we put it one side to the other on the longest wall. We measure it, and this was 154 centimeters. We split that in half and it was 77. So we mark a 77. Then to the other side, we measure this, now this was quite a bit out. Over that small area it was 2.5 centimeters out, so 156.5. So 78.25. And we mark that. You can have it the same size both ways. If it runs out that much, you've got to try and even it out between the two. So nice sharp pencil, draw the line through the centre. Here I am just making sure I've got everything right. Just keep checking it, check measuring. I'm just making sure that both sides of the door frame are the same size, which they were. Now I'm happy with the center line or the length. I need to find the center line on the width, so I know where to start laying the tiles, because I want it as equal as I can both sides. That measurement was 268. So 134. And there's your dead center both ways. Now the center is going to be laid in herringbone design. So they'll be going on a 45-degree angle. So to get the 45, we need one tile on top of the other, so we can mark the thickness of the tiles, and it will basically give you a nice square. So you put one corner on the center, and then the tip of the pencil line on that box will give you the right angle. Then you dry lay some out in the pattern, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to lay out between 5 and 6 maybe tiles long to see if they keep lining up with the points, and the tiles are lining up with the pencil line. And if they do, then you know you've got the perfect right angle. See, that is not. That is a few mil out. So I'm going to adjust it. And then I'm going to redo it again. See, this would be really hard if you had already glued it. So you readjust it. See, look, it's a bit of a pain when you haven't got the glue in, it keeps moving. You've got to try and hold them. And like I said, dry lay them so the points all line up. So this one here, you push forward, see that point there has got to line up with the centre line. And if it starts going out, you know that you're not quite there. Yeah, it's still out. So here we go again. We'll try again. And we'll keep trying until we get this right. Because this is the main bit. If you don't get this right, then it's not going to look right at the end of the job. You've got to get this dead on. Yep, it's gone the other way. We'll bring it back just a little bit. So this is why we do it dry. Again. The thing is, if it's worth doing right. It's got to be right on that line. Otherwise, what's the point putting the line in? This one slides up now. Touches that line. There you go. We're good. So that point and that point is perfectly on that line. So now we pull all of them bar the first one away. We get a nice sharp pencil and we draw around it, making sure we get nice and tight to the edge of the tiles. And we're going to mark a few of these lines here, these zigzags, so we know where to glue, and we'll continue to mark the rest of that centre because that one's going to be the first one we put in. Now those zigzags there are going to show us where to glue to because we only glue in half. Okay, let's get rid of that. So, first things first, give it a good sweep. Make sure all the rubbish and all the dust is clear before we glue. Right, now this is an A2 trowel, nice notch trowel. And this glue I'm using is AMTICO's pressure sensitive. Now when you glue up to the pencil lines that we marked in the first video. And only up to those lines. When spreading, put the glue up to the lines rub your trowel off and bring it back to pick up all the excess. And then carry on going along pencil lines. Rub it off. And then sweep it back through to pick up all the excess. Now, as you can see, I'm going over the center line with the glue. And I'm doing a sweeping motion. If you've ever cleaned your windows with a squeegee, it's the same sort of principle. You're kind of pushing it up slightly so the glue runs to the back of the trowel. And you sweep it back and forth. You go back to the pencil line. And you see there's loads of leftovers. You wipe off your excess, then go back and pick it all back up. And then give it a nice sweeping motion, pushing it forward, bringing it back, trying to run it to the back of the trowel. But make sure that trowel is quite straight, standing straight up, because then it will leave the right amount of adhesive. If you have it really low, so you have the trowel like handle really low, it won't leave as much glue down. So there I am, going over those zigzag lines to the edge of the tiles, just making sure that the glue is going to be well over, so they're going to be covered. Get rid of your excess into the bucket. There we go. Get rid of it. Now I've given it 10 minutes, probably a little bit longer, because the pressure sensitive's got to go off. Alright, it's ready to go. So you get the first tile with the line in it, you line it up. Remember, we drew all the way around this one. Push it in, make sure we're happy. And we rub off the back of any of the other ones, make sure there's no grit or grime on it. And we start making the pattern. And make sure these tiles go in really tight. No gaps, because once you start having a gap, it will just keep growing and growing and growing the further you get into it. I've done whole ground floors of this stuff. Trust me, if you don't start right, it will never end right. Still running good on that center line, so I don't have to adjust it. The reason why it lined up is because I drew around the whole first tile and made sure it went in just right. These tiles that are out halfway out the glue are going to be pulled up when I glue the other half out. They're just there to make sure I'm getting the spaces right. keep checking the sides, making sure it's all lining up, and the square. It's starting to look good. So continue putting them in all the way to the end. So now the first line's done. We have to start the next one. So what we cannot do is start in the middle again and then come back on yourself, because it gets jammed in. You have to like force it in. You don't want to do that. So you want to start one end, or this actual end, and then the next one will lay over the top of that one, so sort of on its back, and you run it down and back on itself, down and back on itself. You don't go making the pattern up in a zigzag fashion, because it will just go all over the place. You've got to lay them on top of each other like this. So now let's finish this end. So what you want to do with these tiles is make sure that they will overlap the pencil lines and the glue, because in the next video I'm going to be showing you how to cut it back and do the border work. So we overlap it and we remark the pencil lines, because obviously once it's over the pencil lines you're going to see it, so you need to remark them on the tiles. You just want to cut it as rough as you like, just making sure it's over the top, beyond it. You don't have to mark every single tile, just as long as you've got 3 or 4 marks on one straight bit. So do this all over, and obviously do the other side, and I will see you in the next video.